Cam Lewis, you are a Chicago Bear. Welcome into Bears Now by Chat Sports. My name is Harrison Graham. Day 2 of NFL free agency rolling along, and the Bears have made another signing. They are adding versatile defensive back Cam Lewis on a 2-year contract. As we're filming, we don't know the money. If that comes in as we're filming this episode, we will pass that along. Otherwise, whenever it comes in, we will mention it in the near future. A lot of thoughts on this one. I actually talked to our Bills host about Cam Lewis before filming this, so was able to get some information that we can pass along to you. But if you want to support the channel, hit that subscribe button. We crossed 160,000 subscribers. Quick round of applause to the Bears Now faithful. You guys are incredible. 161 on the way. We've been live for 7 hours yesterday, 5 hours today, and counting. Lock us in. Daily updates. We got you guys covered. Okay, so Cam Lewis, who ESPN's Jeremy Fowler pointed out, spent 6 seasons with the Bills to start his career, has played all over the secondary for Buffalo, kind of just wherever they've needed him. Corner, nickel, safety. You look at his numbers from last year, decent, high-level backup type of numbers. He's kind of like a sixth defensive back. He's never been a full-time starter, but if a guy gets hurt, he's kind of the guy who plugs in. These coverage numbers are actually pretty good. Only gave up 1 touchdown, QB rating in the mid-80s, allowed completion percentage under 62%. That's pretty solid overall. The last 2 years is when he's gotten his most PT playing time with Buffalo, and he's held his own. He can also play on special teams. I talked to our Bills host, Tyler Smith, a.k.a. Smitty. He thinks he's a good player. He said, yeah, he's kind of a safety nickel hybrid. Probably won't give you much at outside corner, but that's kind of what the Bears need, right? The only safety they had under contract under than one guy on a futures deal was Coby Bryant, who they signed yesterday. And Kyler Gordon, who we all know and love, he's got an injury history. So this guy can be your backup nickel and can play some safety for you. Also gives you insurance if they don't spend a lot of money on another safety before the draft. If for some reason you go through the draft and don't get a safety, well, this guy can play safety if you need him to. So I like the move. I assume the money's not going to be significant, maybe 2 for $6, 2 for $8 million, something like that. Again, just kind of a reasonable contract, just like the Bears have done throughout free agency, to help fill gaps. Depth, guy who can start in a pinch if you need him to and do some different things. He's obviously been in a winning culture in Buffalo for a lot of different years. And again, what does Dennis Allen value more than anything else out of his defensive backs? Guys who are versatile, and he is certainly someone who fills that mold for the Bills the last 6 years and now for the Chicago Bears. You look at the secondary depth chart right now, still got to fill that second safety spot. I think if they played a game today, he would probably start at safety next to Coby Bryant. You got Josh Blackwell in there as well, who can mix in at nickel. But remember last year when Kyler was out, they weren't playing Blackwell. They were playing Nick McLeod. So this could also kind of help you replace Nick McLeod, Cam Lewis could. And I kind of wonder if this signals the end of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. What is C.J. Gardner-Johnson? A safety nickel hybrid. Now, he's probably a little bit better of a player than Cam Lewis, but he also may cost a little bit more than Cam Lewis. So maybe that means the end of him in Chicago. Maybe it doesn't. I'm not sure. But they need guys in their secondary, not only from a depth standpoint, but guys who can play if they need him to. And Cam Lewis is a guy who can do all of that. Grade the signing of Cam Lewis to Chicago. Type A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know down in the comment section below how you guys feel about this signing. Now, coming up on the other side, we will talk about Nahshon Wright leaving the Bears and signing with the Jets. Plus, just take a look at everything that's happened so far in NFL free agency from a Bears standpoint and what could be next. But first, shoot your shot with Prize Picks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5. That's right. Prize Picks is now giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5. Prize Picks will make every dunk, every dime, and every board that much more exciting this March. So don't miss your chance to get started on America's #1 app for sports picks. Football might be over, but basketball is heating up. Just pick more or less than stat projections on 2 to 6 player lineups regardless of sport, and you are good to go. points, rebounds, assists, three-pointers, combo stats, free throws, fantasy score. It's all available. Other sports too. If you're not into other sports or you don't trust yourself in daily fantasy with money on the line in other sports, how about season-long football projections? Plenty are out. Here's just a few of them available that I turned into a three-player lineup. Myles Garrett, give me the more on his sack total projection. He's had 14 or more in 5 straight seasons. I love that value. Caleb Williams, he shattered that passing yards number last year. I think he does it again this year. Give me the more on that. And then Colson Lovin had 6 receiving touchdowns as a rookie. I think he's going to have more this year, so give me more on that. $20 entry to win $100 with Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in the lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in the lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It is good to be right. Speaking of right, Nahshon Wright, gone. Cam Lewis in, Nahshon Wright out. He signs a 1-year up to $5.5 million contract with the Jets. My initial reaction was, I thought he'd get a little more. I thought he'd be a guy that a team would overpay for. They would see the ball production and be like, oh, 2 for 20, right? And look, I like what Nahshon Wright gave to this team last year. He delivered some big moments, some awesome takeaways. But I think most Bears fans would agree with me. As the season went on, teams started to figure out how to attack Nahshon Wright, and that's to get him moving laterally, over the middle. That Week 17 game against the Niners stands out. They just kept running in breakers. Kyle Shanahan was like, all right, Jawan Jennings, we're going to run 15-yard in routes when we get a man coverage look, and Nahshon Wright's not going to be able to hold up, and he could not. Now, that doesn't mean that he wasn't a good player last year. He got voted in as a Pro Bowl alternate. He delivered a lot of big moments with 5 interceptions. That's 5 more than the Jets had as a team. I think the Jets are getting pretty good value here, if I'm being completely honest. I would have been okay if they brought him back at this number, but I do think he's a very boomer bust player. I think the Bears probably looked at Nahshon Wright like, hey, we squeezed everything out of him that we could have. This is a guy for 4 years who couldn't even get on the field. He made a lot of plays for us, kudos, but as the year went on, again, teams kind of figured him out. I wish him well. It's a great story what he was able to do last year. I'm not surprised the Bears are letting him go, however. Again, at that price tag, I would have been okay bringing him back, but I think the Bears are going to look elsewhere to add competition and depth at corner, and I think you kind of just saw that with Cam Lewis, who may not deliver the highs that Nahshon Wright did, but probably won't have as low of lows either. Different type of player. Cam Lewis more of a nickel safety hybrid, but I still wouldn't be shocked if the Bears added a corner at some point in time. So keep an eye on that, whether it's now or in the draft. Also, take advantage of our merch, chatsports.com/Bears shirt. The Beers hat and t-shirt combo you can still get for $10 off until midnight tonight. I'm not sure if it's going to be extended. So midnight tonight, if you're watching on Tuesday, if you add both into your shopping cart, you get $10 off at checkout. Go check that out. We also got the St. Patty's gear available as well. Chatsports.com/Bears shop. Chatsports.com/Bears shop is where you can find all of the merch. St. Patty's is just around the corner. No one does St. Patty's better than Chicago. Full disclosure on the St. Patty's gear, we do have express shipping, but with it being later in the day today, I can't promise it'll be there by St. Patrick's Day. If it was before 3 o'clock today, you'd get it by the 14th, but with the weekend coming up after that, it's kind of a curveball. Now, I would still suggest you buy it. You still could get it, and St. Patrick's is every year, and the shirt itself, you can wear it all the time. It's a sick design. Check out our other merch, too, Iceman, FGB. It's all available. Chatsports.com/Bears shop. Click and shop today. Okay, we'll wrap with this, just kind of a tracker of where things sit for the Bears in NFL free agency. Garrett Bradbury is kind of where we started this tracker. They traded for him a couple days before free agency. Daniel Hardy, a core special teamer back. I think Cam Lewis becomes that as well. DeMarco Jackson, keep an eye on him. He might start for this team, 2 years, $7.5 million, up to $10.5 million. Neville Gallimore, it's really 2 for $10, but incentives up to $12 as a rotation defensive tackle, not too shabby there. Coby Bryant, 3 for $40, your Kevin Byard replacement. I don't think he's going to be back unless his price tag comes way down. Devin Bush, 3 for $30, 21 guaranteed. I think the best value signing for the Bears and maybe all of free agency so far. One of the best linebackers last year, had a really good 2-year stretch in Cleveland. Case Keenum's back on a 2-year deal. Braxton Jones, it's really a $5 million deal incentives up to 10, but his cap hit's only $4.3 million. So that's good value for the Bears. Hopefully he can be healthy this offseason and get back to pre-ankle injury Braxton Jones, which was a serviceable to solid left tackle. And then so far today, Kalif, Raymond, 1 year, $5.1 million, two-time second-team All-Pro, punt returner, and a scrappy little receiver who can do some gadget stuff, but also run some of the route tree. I think you kind of check the Olamide Zaccheaus and Devin Duvernay box with one player there, and Kalif Raymond, who obviously was with Ben and Antoine Randall in Detroit. And then Cam Lewis, versatile defensive back who could do some different things for you as a starter or a backup, depending on the roster. All right, make sure you guys give me a follow on social media. I'm all over the place, at HGramNFL on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. I'm posting short-form content in real time when news comes in. Same as Facebook. Search Harrison Graham Facebook or Harrison Graham Chat Sports within the Facebook app, or go to the link on screen, facebook.com/HGramNFL. That's where you can find my Facebook page. Cam Lewis, welcome to Chicago.